Can I tell you a secret? Come closer. Closer. All right, not that close. All action cameras kind of look like trash. There, I said it. They just don't look very good. And if you want a bit of a controversial hot take, I can't help but wonder if new phones like the iPhone 15 and 16 Pro have killed the action cam. I mean, if you want a small portable camera that can get run through the elements and take a bit of a beating and still give you a good image, well, phones do a better job. But of course, there are exceptions, and it's not that black and white, because you might not feel like running down a motocross dirt track with your sexy new phone strapped to your head. My point is, how is it that these dedicated action cams are getting beat by phones in the first place? Is it really that hard to get a nice looking image from this form factor? Every time I buy a new action cam, I'm almost always inevitably disappointed. No matter which version you're getting, they all kind of have the same problem. If you're not using them for hardcore action, there are many better alternatives out there. But there is one exception. It's not a GoPro. It's not an Osmo. It's not even a new action cam. In fact, it's been discontinued. It came out all the way back in 2021. I'm talking about the DJI Action 2. This is like 3 generations old in terms of the DJI Action cams, but I think it might be the best action cam for most people, with features that no other action cam has had since. So let's talk about why the DJI Action 2 could be right for you. First, what makes DJI Action 2 so great is now how cheap it is, given that every action cam kind of looks like trash. Do you want to pay top dollar for trash, or do you want an affordable trash cam? I'm sorry, I meant crash cam. You can find the Action 2 on Amazon still for $230, and if you want to brave the waters of the second-hand market, you can pick one up off eBay for $150 or $160, which is less than half the price of the DJI Action 5. Now, what DJI really got right here is its unique modular design, a design that is quite perfect for, well, for action, for vlogging, for filming very easily and quickly. The Action 2 is made up of 2 modules, the camera with 32 gig of internal storage and a detachable power module, which will extend the Action 2's battery life, extend the camera's memory capacity using micro SD cards, and allow you an extra screen to view what you're recording if the camera is facing you. Now, if you don't need the extra module, you can just detach it from the magnetic camera base and film with only the camera module, which still has a screen and all control functionality built in to the back screen. You just lose the ability to record for longer periods or utilize the power module's USB-C port, which lets you plug in additional accessories like microphones or connect to your computer or charge both modules. The base is magnetic, so you just magnetically clip it to its mount, which will lock in with pincers on each side to avoid the possibility of falling out. It's a very clever system, and what boggles my mind is that after coming up with this great new design, a design far more complementary to shooting action, they just completely abandoned it in favor of the more GoPro style shape for future versions. And that's why the Action 2 kind of stands out from all the new action cams. Its unique shape means the way you can film with it is much more versatile. The action cam module is also magnetic, so you can just stick it to any magnetic surface and start recording without needing to rig it out with some type of goofy action cam accessory. But this cam itself is actually what I would say is probably the most discreet camera to use when filming. It comes with this magnetic lanyard you place under your shirt. Then you just clip the action cam to your chest through the shirt. No chest plates, no fiddly action cam mounts. It just clicks in place and can sit there recording the whole day. And that's what I think makes this action cam special. It's the ultimate BTS cam. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to monitor it. You can just clip it to your chest, hit record on it, and every now and then you're going to capture what you're doing. If you want to film things, but you don't want everyone to know that you're recording, this setup is unbeatable. Yes, you do have a little camera sitting on your chest, but nobody notices it. You just kind of look like Tony Stark. Nobody messes with Tony Stark. I have used this over countless shoots just to capture a little BTS without it becoming a big problem, or setting up a BTS cam or strapping myself up with a GoPro. It's just so discreet and efficient, and this is my favorite way to use the camera. It's just something that no other action cam can do as quickly or easily. And if you want, you can still fix it to say something like a backpack strap with a couple of simple accessories if you're paranoid about losing the camera from its magnet lanyard, which I have actually done multiple times. But you don't have to have it as a POV cam because of its square design and the fact that it's magnetic. You can also just sit it on a table as you record, place it on a ledge. You don't need a tripod. You don't need all the annoying extra bits and pieces. Just put it on a flat surface and go. It also works surprisingly well as a vlogging camera because of the detachable front-facing screen provides you easy framing, while the size of the Action 2 really does just sit in your pocket or in the palm of your hand. Again, it goes back to the size of this camera and how it's designed as two parts. So you get this monitoring screen, and as you talk, you can easily see what you're doing and make adjustments by controlling it using that screen. And of course, it's an action cam, so if you're walking and talking, it's super smooth with this rock steady stabilization. It's basically the equivalent of having a gimbal without having to have a gimbal. The camera has all the default frame rates and can shoot slow motion in 4K up to 120 frames per second, although it is not the highest quality. However, the 4:3 mode lets you shoot in a more square aspect ratio, which is very handy for vertical content, or you can remove the orientation lock and turn the camera on its side. In fact, the shape of this camera makes it very useful for vertical video because essentially it's a square. So if you rotate it on its side, I mean, it's still a square. The real downside to vertical video is that because it's such a wide angle lens, things get pretty distorted if you're not careful. So yeah. You can also view and control this camera via the DJI Mimo app, which means you have the option of placing this camera somewhere far away from you and then activating it, recording via the app. It's also got this weird voice control setting where you can tell it to start or stop recording. The issue with the voice control is it doesn't really work unless you're very close to the mics, which means it's quicker to just press the record button. The LCD screens are both touchscreen for dialing in your settings, and only the button on top and on the side of the power module is used to start and stop recording. Now, I've seen a lot of elaborate efforts to mount the Osmo Pocket 3 to record POV of someone's camera as they film. Obviously, with the shape of the DJI Action 2, it's very easy to just attach this to a cold shoe on the camera to create the same effect, or use a little magic arm to get some fun angles as you film. Now, you can drop this in water and film in harsh conditions, but it is important to note that only the camera module is waterproof. So don't go submerging the power module when you want to film like this. And as an added bonus, you can even use this camera as a dedicated webcam. Just connect via USB-C to your computer and select the webcam option from the menu. While this design does limit you if you need to add attachments, I will say that the audio is surprisingly good on this camera. But if you want to, you can attach an additional microphone like I'm doing here through the USB-C. You'll find a lot of these affordable little cages through our friends at AliExpress, and now you can use more elaborate attachments, and then you can just clip your mic to these little hot shoe adapters on the cage. Here are some examples using the Rode shotgun mic, and this is an example of me using the Rode Wireless Pro to compare the audio. Okay, now this is what the audio sounds like just straight out of the DJI Action 2. This is what the audio sounds like with nothing, no radio mic, no lav plugged in, nothing. This is just the audio straight out of the speakers. And this is what the audio sounds like. Recording with the Rode Video Mic Go 2 running into the DJI Action 2, and this is what the audio sounds like with the shotgun mic. And so I've just got it I don't know, half a meter away from me, and this is what the audio sounds like with the Rode Video Mic 2 shotgun mic. So what's the catch? Why did DJI just abandon this cool, modular, compact style in favor of the generic, boring, dare I say, dated GoPro style action cam in the newer versions? Well, I'm guessing it has something to do with how hot these cameras get and just how prone they are to overheating. The biggest drawback to these cameras is how quickly they get to this point. You can record for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but generally after that, at some point, the camera may overheat. In fact, the camera has stopped recording 3 times while doing this piece to camera. This is a good example of what the DJI Action 2 has a bad habit of doing. It exposes to the background behind me, not to its subject. And so it should be exposing to my face, but it's exposing to the background behind me. Now, it should correct itself eventually, but sometimes it definitely takes a while. And we're still not really exposed correctly. And so, yeah, this is kind of one of the big flaws of the Action Cam, is it just takes a little too long to correctly expose for its subject. Fitting all these components into these separate squares and including an LCD back touchscreen is just a little bit too much to handle. The battery life on these things is also not good at all. And even with the extra power module, you will drain your batteries very, very quickly. With both modules recording in 4K, you will get maybe just over an hour of battery life and maybe 20 minutes with the camera module only. So that's a big drawback. As I tend to record in short bursts with this camera, overheating is not really an issue, but the battery life can be. And so it pays to have a spare power module to swap out, or multiple if you wanted this camera to last you a whole day. If you're relying on this camera to do a lot of recording, I could see both of these issues becoming very problematic. And perhaps it explains why DJI abandoned this style despite being so convenient and innovative. DJI, this YouTube video is your wake-up call, okay? Make a new version of this camera. You got it right. You just need to tweak it. And look, finally, it's an action cam. The picture, it's not great. The picture is particularly bad in dark environments. And if some of the newer action cams have managed anything, it's better low light performance. So if you're a notorious night action cam shooter, the Action 2 is probably not for you, as the image quickly falls apart in low light. But for me, this is action cam footage. It looks like an action cam, and you are using it to capture action and get in the thick of it, not really to get stunning looking content. I use my proper cameras for that, and that's why for me this body and style works perfectly for how I like to use the action camera. I think DJI should absolutely fix the battery and overheating issues, because a new version of this camera would be amazing. But the Action 2 does pretty much everything an action camera needs to do in a much more convenient form factor. So if you're going to use a trash cam, why not use a more affordable, versatile trash cam to film your trash and fulfill your content creator legacy and become a true hot piece of garbage? If you want to see how I utilize my iPhone in a similar way to make less trash, more high quality videos, then click on the link beside me. As always, I am the Savage Filmmaker, and I'll see you when I see you.